Sup guys and girls, how's it going? My name is Mustafa and welcome to my War Thunder Beginner's Guide. Now, this is aimed at everyone who has just started War Thunder, or you've been playing War Thunder for a little bit and you're not really sure what to do. Now, if you have been playing War Thunder for a little bit, I'm assuming that you know everything about the menu, so click the annotation at the top of the screen here, it will take you straight to how to play in the combat. But otherwise, I recommend you stick around because you're probably going to need to know about everything on this screen, I shit you not. And there'll probably be a little bit of language for in this episode, so I'm sorry if you don't like bad language. Now, when you start up the game, you're going to have to play 3 tutorials. I'll show you them here. I'm not actually going to play them, obviously, but you get 3 basic flight tutorials. Now, you've got fighter, assault plane, and bomber. Once you've played them, you won't be an expert, but you'll get the idea of how to fly the planes. And then you've got these advanced tutorials, but you only need to play those if you want to play historical or full real battles. Now, up here, you got your menu, in which you can change game controls. So you've got like auto login, blah blah blah, and all this crap. Usual, very normal stuff for a game like this. You also have your controls, which you can change like the key bindings and stuff, which I recommend you do if you don't like the original keys, which is kind of obvious. You got an encyclopedia, so you can learn about the planes themselves. Leaderboards, so you can see who's better at the game than you are, unless you are the best, obviously. Replays, and the replays are actually quite useful if you record for YouTube like I do, and you haven't like got your recorder on a game and you did really well. Then you come into the replays and you can test out. You can just look at your game and then record it from there instead. So it's quite useful for YouTubers and people who just like to save replays. Now up here you got your friends, and here's your friends list. Here's the people you fought together with. You got your blacklist, and they're people who you block if you don't like them because you think they're douchebags. Then you got your player search, and you can just type in whatever you want, search for a player, and then that guy obviously doesn't exist. But yeah, you can search for people if you've played with them or you know of them and you want to play with them, and then you can send them messages and add them as friends or whatever. Now up here you got your chat. System chat, I have no idea what that is. General chat, people just talk about stuff to do with War Thunder or just discuss things like the planes and stuff like that. So you can go in there and add your own opinions or whatever you want to do. And then you've got your looking for squad, which is pretty self-explanatory. You can either say, hey, I'm looking for a squad, invite me, or hey, I'm making a squad, I'll invite you. It's really up to you. And without a premium account, you can only have 2 people in a squad. But if you've got more than, if you have got a premium account, then you can have up to 4 people in a squad. But it's really up to you how you go about that. And I'll explain the premium account in one moment. So now you got my profile, in which it shows you you got your name, whatever photo, which you can change by the way by clicking on it there. Then you got your rank, which just depends on XP. It's not really too important. And then you got all of your Air Force ranks, the XP you've earned in them, how much XP you need to get to the next rank, and how many medals you've earned. And then obviously you got your generic stats like, oh, I destroyed all these targets. I've played this long in a fighter. Logbook, have no idea what it is. Medals, you earn these as you go through the game. Achievements. As you get these, you unlock currency and XP, which I'll explain both of in just a moment. Challenges, pretty similar to achievements, does that pretty much the same thing. Skins, you can earn different skins for the aircraft which you use, and using these skins you can make your aircraft look a little bit more badass if you really want to. Some of the skins are better than others, obviously, and it's really all down to personal preference. And then decals, which again I'll go into later. These just allow you to decorate your aircraft, and you unlock them just by doing stuff. You don't really have to grind to get these, in my opinion. They just happen as you play the game, so don't worry too much about that. Currency. Alright, so you've got silver and gold, or lions and eagles as they're known. Now, silver you earn through challenges, achievements, and just playing the game in general. You will just earn more and more of these things. Eagles, these are premium currency items in which you pay money to get. You use euros if you're wondering about what that is. If you want to if you like using a US dollar or a British pound or something, you don't use euros. Then just go onto like an online currency exchanger and you can see how much these prices actually are. Personally, I always buy 2,500 eagles when I do it, but that's just personal preference. And then up here you got the shop, in which you can buy lions. You can go on the store and buy some bonuses and stuff like that, and campaigns. And then you can buy gold. And then here you got the premium account. Now the premium account, you can have 1 to 365 days. It's really up to you. Anything in between, obviously. All it does is it boosts XP, boosts the amount of lions you earn, increases the limit of whatever that is, I'm not really sure. Allows to make squads with 4 people and 4 slots for decals. On the subject of decals, if you click the hanger there, it's a little icon. Let me go back, I don't really think I showed that properly. Yeah, if you click the hanger icon here, and then click the little sort of hanger paintbrush type icon there, you get 2 decal slots. Now you do have the other 3 2 unlocked, but you can't use them unless you have a premium account. So yeah, you click on these, and then you just click on whatever you want. Yeah, sure, I'll have a blue shield. Let's just stick it on there. So yeah, using the mouse wheel, you can zoom out and zoom in. Hold left shift, and then use the mouse wheel, and you make it bigger or smaller. And then hold left alt, and then use the mouse wheel, and you can rotate it left or right. And then you can place it wherever the hell you want on your aircraft, and you can have 2 decals without a premium account and 4 decals with a premium account. But it's really up to you, and you can make some really funky stuff. So down here you've got your nations. Now you got America, Germany, Russia, Britain, and Japan. So I don't know why I said Japan differently, but whatever. So yeah, through these you get different nation levels. You always start at level 1 as far as I know for every single nation, and you level them up the more you play with them. The ranks start off very, very easy, and you're going to be leveling up very, very quickly to start off with, but the more you get into it, the harder it gets, and it eventually becomes near impossible to level up. Now, you have research trees. Now, these trees are different for every nation. Some are bigger, some are smaller, but bear in mind this is in patch 1.29, so things are a little bit undeveloped compared to what they should be. And anyway, you just unlock aircraft with your rank, and then with your in-game currency or the lions, you can buy the aircraft. Now, the aircraft gradually get more expensive and get up to some ridiculous prices, but in a nutshell, the higher you level up, the more aircraft you unlock. You have to buy them, and then you have to pay for a crew train cost, which again gets gradually more expensive as you level up higher. Now, in terms of the little icons here, if you're wondering what they are, you've got your hangar, which brings you into this little thing, which summarizes its armaments, like weapons, the name of the aircraft, and some basic information about what the aircraft is. Now, here you've got a stat called turn time. Do not get confused by this. Turn time does not mean that your speed at which you roll your plane on its belly and then turn it around. That is not what it's talking about. It's talking about if you was flying exactly level like you are here, where your wings are level with the horizon and you're level with the ground, and then you use your rudder using the Q or the E keys on your keyboard, and then turn and do a full circle. That's what it's talking about. It confused the shit out of me when I first started this game, and yeah, it might confuse you too, but if it doesn't, then you're a cool person. But if you constantly go by turn times because you want to know how quickly you can turn your aircraft, then don't be confused by that, because it's kind of not correct. Well, it is correct, but it's not very self-explanatory. So yeah, if you want to find out the turn times if you were turning just normally, and I'll show you what I mean when we get into a game in a moment, then go on YouTube, and there are plenty of tutorials on how to do that. The best one I found was by a guy called JJ Jonas. He's a pretty awesome, very explanatory guy. He does a very good job of describing what the aircraft do and stuff like that. So go check him out if you want to know about that sort of thing. Now, down the bottom here, you can see that there's Army and Fleet, but these are features that are not currently added. This tutorial is for the aircraft only. Sorry for the confusion if you join this expecting to learn about tanks and stuff in the future. But yeah, and then here, as a final note, you got your to battle menu. You choose your country, but you can do that down here as well. You got arcade, historical, and full real battles, and then you got the current server that you want to join. And then obviously the amount of players are in the game, blah blah blah. So arcade battles, very fun arcadey battles in which you can use all of your aircraft one by one. Historical battles, you pick one aircraft. It's a bit more realistic. The flight mechanics are a bit different and things are harder. And then in full real battles, basically a cockpit view of historical battles, and things do get again a bit more realistic and harder. So now I'm going to quickly jump into a couple of games. I'm going to show you what it's like. I'm not going to do full games. I'm going to show you like little bits and like pieces, so I can give you a good idea of how to play the game. So I hope you enjoy. Okay, so welcome to the flight mechanics part of this tutorial. This is where I show you the controls of the aircraft and how things work. So, if you hold down W, you throttle up. If you hold down S, you throttle down. Now, if you hold down W too much, you go into what's known as WEP, which stands for Wartime Emergency Power, and it's exactly what it says on the tin. You basically use that in emergency situations in which you need to travel faster. Now, in arcade battles, this isn't a problem if you use it too much, because all it does is overheat, and then it just your engine will make a weird noise, and then it will come back on. You can use it again if you want to, but I do recommend you save it for times when it's more needed, like getting away from an enemy aircraft or something. Now, if you're in a historical or an arcade battle, a full realistic battle, then what happens is if you hold down WEP for too long, then what happens is your engine can actually flame out, and you can just lose your engine, and you'll have to land and repair. Now, if you hold down A, you roll left. If you hold down D, you roll right. If you hold down Q, your rudder turns left. If you hold down E, your rudder turns right. The mouse wherever you point it is where you travel. So if I point up, I go up. If I point down, I go down, and same for left and right. Now if you're going to turn, I reckon when you start turning, then hold down D to assist it a little bit, and then start just pulling your mouse. Now if you want to do a hard turn without using your mouse, because you do have to keep dragging your mouse depending on sensitivity and the size of your mouse mat, you can hold down the control button. And what this will do is put you into the hardest possible turn you can go into, so you don't have to keep dragging your mouse. The only reason you will drag your mouse is to move your view, like where you're looking, but control will do all of the turning for you. And it can actually do it independently of the camera. As you can see here, the plane is moving and my camera is not following it. So it's a pretty useful tool if you want to turn a little bit faster. Now if you press F, you activate flaps. Now depending on your aircraft, you'll have like different types of flaps. For example, this aircraft only has landing flaps, but some aircraft have what's known as combat flaps. Now combat flaps, if you put them on, what they do is they steady your aircraft so you can shoot a little bit easier, and they slow you down a little bit in the process, which is kind of how it steadies you. And also, if you're going into a turn with the combat flaps, you'll actually be able to turn a little bit faster because you're travelling at slower speeds, and I think something to do with the angle of the combat flaps actually assists your turning. I'm not sure about that last bit though. And then landing flaps, they basically just slow down your speed, so you just, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment, but essentially they just slow you down, allow you to land easier. And then if you press the G key, as I'm going to do here, you can see that my landing gear rolls down out of the bottom of my wings, and then when they're fully retracted, which I've obviously just put them back again, you can start your landing. That's all you need to know really for the flight controls. There's nothing else really to know. Actually, there's one thing actually. Some aircraft has what's known as an aero brake, but not many aircraft have it. And you press H to get that, and essentially this little bar will come up on your wing or something, and it will slow your aircraft down a little bit quicker. So anyway, now I'm going to move into the landing part of the tutorial. Hope it was helpful. Okay, so welcome to the landing part of this tutorial. Now what you need to do firstly is line up yourself with the runway in which you want to land on. It doesn't really matter if you do any diving or anything like that to get lower. And then just lower your throttle by holding down S, press G, then press F, and now you're all ready to land. You just need to slow yourself down. Now a lot of runways have trees near them, but don't worry about that. Just make sure you're over the trees and just keep lowering yourself using the mouse. Try not to travel too fast. What I'm currently doing is traveling too fast. I've done this on purpose because some of you, I imagine, are going to be landing very quickly because you either need to, because you need repairs, or you're just trying to capture an objective. So press Q and then press E, and what this does is it kind of like shifts your aircraft left and then right, and it really slows down your airspeed. And then you land, and then you press brake. Brake is again just holding down S. Make sure you don't brake too much though, because some of the aircraft tend to tip on their nose. What you need to be doing is working your back wheel to the floor like I just did there, and then lowering your throttle once it's down as much as you want until it's finally on 0, and you come to a nice stop. And that is all you really need to know about landing. Now if you're actually trying to capture an objective and you're doing a land to do that, and just land, get your wheels on the ground, the objective will capture, and then just full throttle and take off again, and make sure you deactivate your flaps for pressing F, and then obviously when you're off the ground, deactivate your landing gear if you can, because some aircraft don't do that. So now I'm going to move on to the final part of the tutorial, which will just be the combat part, so I hope you enjoy that. Okay, so welcome to the combat part of my tutorial. Now the first thing you need to do is pick an enemy. So I'm going to go after this G3A1. Next, you need to line yourself up with the enemy. Generally I find getting behind the enemy is the best possible option in order to take them out. Now this guy does have a back gunner, so I've got to be a bit more careful than usual. Right, now that I'm lined up, you simply shoot at the reticle in front of the aircraft. This is only in arcade battles, by the way. If you're playing historical or fully realistic battles, then that reticle doesn't show up. And then you kill the enemy just like that. And you proceed to do that on every single enemy you decide to take on, and it should work out fine. And you just keep going and going and going until your aircraft gets destroyed or the game ends. It's really as simple as that. So that's pretty much all I have to say about combat. The only other thing I really want to say is make sure you're going after targets you know you can take out. Because if you go after like targets that are too heavily armored for you, or are just too quick or can outturn you very easily, then the problem is with that is they're going to use their advantage against you if they're smart. So you need to know your advantages and know your enemy's advantages, and then using that information you can really put up a good fight against the enemy. And I find that's the best way to play this game. Now as you can see, I've got someone on my tail here, and he shot my wing off, so I'm down. Now this happens a lot in War Thunder, so you just have to, you know, take it with a pinch of salt and just keep playing. But over time you will get better, and things will go pretty well for you. So there you have it. A beginner's guide to War Thunder. I hope it was helpful. If you've got any more questions about the game that you need answered or you want me to make a video on, then just comment in the comment section to this video and I'll answer them as quickly as possible. Or you can inbox me. That's an alternate way of going about it. If you want to type a really long message so that you can explain something in a bit more detail, then you can do that as well. That's fine. I will answer all of your questions or any questions that you have. So I hope that was helpful for all of you. That's what I have to say, really. I just thought I'd make it because there are a few people who I know who are struggling to play this game, so I thought I'd make this and help them out. So I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I've been Mustafa, over and out.